Hey guys, I am Nick, and I am excited today to be ranking the Scream franchise. You can see I got my Scream shirt on. Woodsboro Horror Film Club, what's your favorite scary movie? I saw this online a couple weeks ago, and I was like, shit, gotta buy that. I haven't really talked about the Scream franchise yet on this channel, but I really wanted to broaden my horizons and start talking about other movies that I'm a fan of instead of just, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. So I'm going to start by ranking this franchise from worst to best. And what you can do if you want to continue to support this channel is just hit that subscribe button down low. It'll let you know, anytime I got new videos coming out. Because as I've mentioned in the past, I have a lot of plans for the remainder of summer and moving forward for this channel. A lot of different reviews and ranking videos as we get closer and closer to fall and the Halloween season. So, that being said, let's get right into this. Coming in at number 4, this is the easiest movie to rank in this franchise, the worst of the Scream franchise, at least until hopefully not, but at least until Scream 5 comes out, maybe in the next year, maybe with COVID, 2 years. But the worst movie in the franchise is probably the same as most, and that's going to be Scream 3. I am not a huge fan of this movie at all. In my opinion, it has the worst killer in Roman and his little twist where he's Sidney's half-brother. I hate when franchises do that. They throw in something else at the last minute, or when you're already a couple or a few movies into the franchise, they just throw something out because they are not clever enough to come up with another idea. So I'm not a fan of that aspect of it, of him being Sidney having a long-lost half-brother that she didn't know about. Also wasn't a fan of the Maureen Prescott backstory. They're kind of diving into all this shit with her backstory in Hollywood and things like that. I understand Maureen's a huge part of the Scream lore. Her death kind of spawned the franchise, so to speak. But we really didn't need to know anymore. We don't need to know what she was doing, in her late teens and shit like that. So I just wasn't a fan of that. And this whole movie as a whole was just kind of blah. The whole franchise is, clever. It's kind of built on its cleverness, and then they come out with this Scream 3 to end the trilogy, and it just didn't really hit the mark for me. But I'm going to still say a positive or two for it. I did like the voice-changing box being added to this movie. I thought that was pretty cool and kind of a nice next step to have. And then the actress that played Courtney Cox's character's stab character, the hell's her name, Piper or something like that. I can't remember. You guys can help me out in the comments. But I thought she was pretty good, and probably the best performance in the movie was by her. So with that being said, they're diving into Stab and all the sequels for the movie inside of a movie kind of, and I thought that was pretty clever at first, but it got old pretty fast. But anyway, yeah, Scream 3, worst in the franchise by far. Coming in third place, I really wrestled with whether to put this movie in second place or third place. And in fact, this and what I have for number 2 can change based on the day for me. They're that razor thin. But coming in at number 3 is going to be the most recent Scream movie, Scream 4. This was kind of a Scream for a new generation. It came out in 2011, which was 15 years after the original Scream came out. And much like Scream kind of goes into the slasher movies and Scream 2 gets into sequels, this kind of goes into the reboots and remakes, and I think it does a damn good job. The whodunit aspect of this was very well done. I thought Jill, spoiler alert for a movie that's almost 10 years old, but Jill was a great killer in this. I really thought it was realistic that they'd have a killer that is doing this to be famous. It really hits with the times back 10 years ago when they did it, and it continues with the times right now. I thought this movie had some of the best kills in the franchise. Scream is really just a franchise where there's just a lot of stabbing with a knife, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But this had some of the goriest kills in the franchise. I thought they did a good job with that. Kirby, great character. She's kind of the new Randy. I was sorry to see her die, although now there's speculation that people are saying she's not dead. We never saw her body. So we'll see what happens with Scream 5 with her. But she was a fantastic character in this. She's kind of the audience, as Randy used to be. The only reason that I would slightly have this lower than the next movie is, once again, all three of the main characters survived. At some point they got to kill either, Dewey, Sidney, or what the hell can I think of Courtney Cox's character's name? But yeah, they got to kill one of those three people at some point, and I thought that Scream 4 would have been the perfect chance to do that. Gale Weathers, that's her name. Jesus, sorry guys. But yeah, Gale Weathers is Courtney Cox's character's name. But yeah, I thought this would have been a perfect opportunity to do that, but they didn't have the balls to do it, like I said. So, coming in at number 2 now, probably no surprise, is going to be Scream 2. This is a great sequel. Came out actually 1 year after Scream came out. They actually started pre-production on it while Scream was still in theaters, which is pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible that the quick turnaround and still have a great sequel. That's one of my main issues with Halloween 5 is, they started filming right away and didn't have a script, blah, 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 and the movie sucked. So to have a quick turnaround like this for Scream 2 and still have a great sequel is just a great job. I think the college setting is great in this movie, kind of differentiates from the original. And let's talk about, another spoiler alert here, Randy's death. So they kill Randy kind of unceremoniously in the middle of the movie. Once again, I said Scream 4 didn't have the balls to kill any main characters. As much as I love Randy, we all love Randy. Come on, man. Jamie Kennedy's awesome. And his character's awesome. So as much as I love Randy, I thought it was cool. Kind of showed that they killed him. It kind of showed that, all bets are off now in this movie. So yeah, I thought that was great. The final act, I thought was excellent. I wasn't a huge fan of who the killers actually were. You had Mickey, played by Timothy Olyphant, who's obviously gone on to great things, and then you had the Roseanne chick, Aunt Becky, maybe from maybe not Becky, but the aunt from Roseanne, who ends up being Billy Loomis's mother. I thought that was kind of anticlimactic, but I get it. I get what they were going for, and I don't really know what else you could do there, but it was just kind of blah for me. But other than that, the third act was great. I loved how Sidney hesitated to believe her new boyfriend Derek. He's tied up in the theater, and he's like, untie me, and Sidney, kind of, you can see her remembering that the killer was her boyfriend from the first movie, so she hesitated for a second, and Derek ended up dying, possibly because of that. So I thought that was a really cool aspect of it too. Kind of showed what her character was thinking. Downgrade, the only downgrade I'll have for this movie, because I think it's a damn good sequel, is that they did it again with Dewey, where he's stabbed. I think he's stabbed in the back again, but he's stabbed, and he's left for dead, and then the ambulance, he's being pushed into the ambulance, and he survived again. It's like, come on, you're going to really do that again to us, where we think a character's dead and, he's not, I just think that's not realistic and stupid. But other than that, great sequel. Which brings us to number 1, no surprise here, the OG, the original Scream from 1996. Not too much I can say about this franchise, or this movie, that hasn't already been said, but obviously Scream kind of changed and revitalized the horror and slasher franchise in the late 90s. Kevin Williamson, who wrote the script, and Wes Craven, who directed, were just perfect for this type of movie. And there is a reason there's so many Scream ripoffs in the late 90s with I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, on and on and on you can go. The whodunit aspect works perfectly in this movie. Billy Loomis, Sidney's boyfriend, was great in the fact that he seemed guilty at first, and then they made you believe he was innocent, and then the turn at the end after you think he's dead, when he shoots Randy, is just great. Stu, you can totally believe that he would kind of just fall in line with Billy Loomis. So yeah, totally believable. Their motive and talking about motives at the end, I thought was really clever and cool, especially for 1996. It was great. Randy coming up with the rules of horror movies / slasher movies was great. I love his speech. He pauses the movie and there are certain rules. You can never have sex. No drugs or alcohol, and never ever say "I'll be right back." Just great. It just showed that you can make a horror movie where the characters are like us and they know about all these horror movie rules. Great, just fantastic. Love that Halloween's playing in the background. And one of my favorite things about this movie that I don't hear mentioned is at the party at the end, they have Gail and her cameraman set up a camera in the room, and it's got like a 15-second delay. And I thought that's great tension. I love when the cameraman, sees the killer in the room behind Randy, and then, he opens the door to go warn Randy, and then the door to the house is already open. So Ghostface is already out there, and he's like, oh shit, the delay, and then he gets his throat cut. So just fantastic movie for its time. Obviously, it spawned a franchise, and we got a new movie coming out soon. But all in all, Scream, although I wouldn't consider it a perfect movie, I think it was a perfect movie for its time. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys fans of the Scream franchise? Would you rank the movies any differently? Yeah, let me know. Thanks.